Oh, WarGreymon. He's essentially just the Charizard of Digimon, right? Well, you know what? Let's be real. He's just the better Charizard. You know what? Just get out of here, you fake dragon, you. This is a real dragon. For many years, WarGreymon has been a very popular Digimon. But does he live up to that hype in the trading card game? Let's find out how good WarGreymon really is. So to start things off, we have our starter deck WarGreymon, the first WarGreymon in the card game. So he has a play cost of 12, a Digivolution cost of 4 onto a red level 5. He has 12,000 DP, and he says, your turn. For every 2 Digivolution cards this Digimon has, it gains security attack plus 1. This is a good card. It's just been outclassed by, later WarGreymon cards. But it's still a solid card in its own right. It really held up on its own, especially during its own time. Gaining security plus just for having sources is really good. But like I said, it's just been outclassed by future WarGreymons, and that 4 cost evolution is just really steep. Still, I think it's a great card and definitely a really cool piece of the Digimon card game history. So next we have WarGreymon from the very first set, New Evolution. So he's also a 12 cost to play, but he costs 3 to Digivolve. He has 11 DP, and he says when Digivolving, this Digimon gains security attack plus 1 for the turn. So that's pretty decent. You're getting an extra security check when you Digivolve into him. And then he says your turn, this Digimon doesn't activate security skills. On option cards, it checks. So that is extremely good. That alone is what makes this card still relevant to this day in BT10. I'm still running this card in one of my Black WarGreymon decks, actually. It's a really good card. They knocked it out of the park with this guy. The only thing I would change is I would make it so that he just gains the security attack instead of when Digivolving. That's the only downside he has. Other than that, very good card. And it's not even hard to gain security plus, so it doesn't even matter. It's just negating security effects and option cards is incredible. Solid card. You definitely should have this in your collection. So now we're jumping into BT2. And here we have our first different colored WarGreymon. He's black in this one. So he also has a play cost of 12. He has 11,000 DP and he costs 2 to Digivolve. Pretty similar, seeing a pattern here, hey? So he has blocker and reboot. Having blocker and reboot is an excellent combination. Being able to swing and then just block with an effective 11k Digimon is crazy. And if you build the right stack, he can have some really powerful effects on him too. So I say this card is very solid. I think it stands there with BT1. They do a bit different things, but they're both really good at what they do. I highly recommend having this card in your collection as well. And here we also have his alternate art, which looks really great. Get this card if you can. He's pretty cheap right now, so I recommend just picking him up. And then here is the box topper alternate art from EX2. He was also in the adventure box, so this card's dirt cheap. If you just want to play a playset of this card, just buy this card, because I think this card's like even under $1. So next we have BT4 and our first yellow WarGreymon and our only yellow WarGreymon at the moment. So he's also a 12 play cost. He has 11k DP and he has 3 to Digivolve. So that's pretty much the standard for WarGreymon at this point. And he says, when attacking once per turn, you may add the top card of your security stack to your hand to unsuspend this Digimon and have one of your opponent's Digimon get minus 6,000 DP for the turn. This card is really good, really solid. The only thing that really holds it back is he just Digivolves onto yellow, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially when the set came out. WarGreymon really helped allow you to play this card in yellow and in red decks as well. But he's more geared towards yellow, Yellow likes to play with security. Yellow also likes to play with negating DP on Digimon. So I'd say it's just a really solid tech card. It's not something you're going to rely on too heavily, but popping into one of your decks just for a little bit of aggro is pretty cool, and your opponent might not even suspect it. Pop him down, he can swing for 2 hits, and potentially delete a Digimon. Really, really good card. You definitely have at least a few of these in your collection. So now we're going into BT5. And here is what I would argue is potentially one of the worst, or even the worst WarGreymon. So he's an 11 play cost, 11,000 DP, and he costs me to Digivolve. So he says, when Digivolving, if a Digimon card with Greymon in its name is in this card's Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with Blocker. And he also has an inheritance that says, when attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3,000 DP or less. So it really only gets its effect off if you have the right cards in its stack. And it has an inheritance, so it's expected to go into level 7s or even just another level 6 that can Digivolve onto it. So you're not expected to be even using this card, honestly. You're just expected to Digivolve, kill a blocker, and then Digivolve on top of him, which is so situational. I mean, maybe in the future this card will see some actual play. It might actually get some decent... It might actually find a spot in the game, but right now, it's just not worth it. There's better WarGreymons to run. The only reason I can really see you playing this, the only deck I can really see you playing this in, is an X Antibody. And even then, they're just better WarGreymons to throw in that deck. So, I'm going to be bold and say this is the worst WarGreymon we have so far. And it's also just a rare. The only WarGreymon that's just a rare. So next we have EX1 WarGreymon. So he's a 12 cost, 12,000 DP, and it's 4 cost to Digivolve. So he says, when Digivolving, Blitz. Then, when attacking, when this Digimon attacks a player, if you have a Tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with Blocker. So, he's better BT5 Omnimon, and he has Blitz, which is just always fun to have. He really just took the BT5 Omnimon and just made it far more useful in this card. Because this card, this card's so bad. And Blitz can really make a difference. It can just win you the game. So overall, I think it's a solid card. Not the best WarGreymon. I'd put it more like in the middle. You should grab this card. Go for the alternate art though. I don't have it, unfortunately, but it's worth picking up, especially if you're a collector. Solid card, because you can just Blitz and get an attack in. Blitz is just fun. So now we have our first promo, our only WarGreymon promo. So he's also a 12k play cost, 12 play cost, 12k DP. Yeah, 12k play cost. Oy. And he has a 4 to Digivolve. Pretty steep. 4 always feels so steep. And then it says, when Digivolving, if you have a Tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4,000 DP or more. And then when attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4,000 DP or less. So, the removal kind of really sucks. It's garbage removal. 13,000 DP or more. If your opponent has something like that out, there's just better removal in general. You shouldn't be relying on this certain amount of DP or more for removal. I think that's kind of like the worst type of removal. You want to have something that says like 13,000 DP or less. Then you can just target almost anything with that ability. This guy, you're really limited to who you can target. But consistent deletion when attacking it is still pretty good. It's just not the best. So I'd say this card is decent. You don't really need it. You don't ever really need to run this card. I can never see a situation where this card's actually good until we get a really broken tie that lets you play WarGreymon. But until then, this card just doesn't really need to be anywhere near your deck. So last but not least, we have my proxy WarGreymon X. Because for some reason, I don't have a WarGreymon X in my collection. I forgot to order it when I was doing BT9 stuff. So, and ever since then, I've been having trouble even finding them online, at least in Canada. But anyway, I also have this big one. Woo! Digimon should print jumbo cards. That could be fun. So he's also a 12 cost to play. He has 12,000 DP. He costs 4 to Digivolve. However, he Digivolves for 1 on WarGreymon. Then all turns. When a card is removed from your opponent's security, gain 1 memory. Then end of attack, once per turn. If WarGreymon or X antibodies in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP. This card is really good. Just attacking into security gains you memory. And think of it this way. You Digivolve onto WarGreymon for 1 memory. You swing. You gain that memory back. So you essentially just Digivolve for free. And you kill so many Digimon with this guy. Just swinging, at the end of the attack, you can just destroy anything that's 12,000 DP or less. And this guy's going to have higher DP with your stack. I guarantee it. And on top of that, it's just super easy to trigger. So don't sleep on this card. If you have space in your tribal Greymon deck, throw him in. He's a good tech card. And for all you WarGreymon players out there, you know how good this card can really be. When you start swinging at your opponent and you're just gaining all that memory, your opponent starts sweating. They don't know what to do. You just keep gaining memory and your attacks keep getting extended. It's just ridiculous. So this card's really good, but it's really only good in WarGreymon. You don't want to pay the 4 memory. I mean, you can pay the 4 memory and that's still fine. You're still deleting Digimon with his effects, so that's really solid. But yeah, I'd say it's either it's a really good 4 of or 3 of, or it's just a decent tech in your tribal decks. So that's WarGreymon throughout the history of the card game so far. We already know we're going to get more support in the future. So out of 12 sets thus far, we have 8 WarGreymon cards and tons of alternate arts. They really do love to make their trophy cards Greymons and WarGreymons. Some really cool alternate arts out there that I just haven't got my hands on yet. So yeah, WarGreymon's a solid Digimon, and it's got some really solid decks. And currently, and we'll do a separate video on Black WarGreymon, but currently, Black WarGreymon is one of the best decks in the meta. So Greymon Tribal is doing really well. So I also wanted to go through just some generic support, maybe some more specific tribal Greymon support, just to kind of help you spice up your deck or kind of give you an idea of what Greymon's really trying to do. So here we have Tai. He is your memory tamer. And then he says, your turn, all your red Digimon with 4 or more Digivolution cards gain security attack +1. So he's just really good. He gives your guys additional checks for security, and he's also a memory tamer, so it's just really nice to have on the board. You're already going to be building decent stacks with Greymon anyway because you want all those inheritances. So he's just really good to throw in the deck. So another good tamer is Nokia. She has an on-play effect that lets you play an Agumon for free. And then when you Digivolve a Digimon that has from your hand with Greymon in its name, or Omnimon in its name, that's still kind of relevant, then you can suspend her to reduce the memory cost by 1. So she helps your Digivolutions cost less. Really decent card. I think it's really good for helping you get your guys out really fast and kind of managing your memory just a little bit better. Because sometimes Red feels like it has troubles with that. So here we have Starter Deck Agumon. He gives your stack plus 1,000 DP, so, you know, pretty decent. Just nice generic buff. Then we have another Starter Deck Agumon, who says, when this Digimon attacks a player, he gets plus 2,000 DP for the turn. So, you know, pretty decent. So, you know, it's decent. You have to be attacking the player, which usually you will be with WarGreymon, because you want to get all those security checks off, especially when you have BT1 out, or X Antibody, and you're gaining all that memory. So, yeah, pretty good card. Then we have Promo Agumon, who says, while this Digimon has Greymon in its name, it gets plus 2,000. This is probably the best DP boost for rookies you can do for Tribal Greymon. It's just generic 2,000 DP. You're not going to really worry about your Digimon not having Greymon in its name, because unless it's Omnimon, your Digimon are going to have Greymon in its name. Then we have BT5 Agumon, who's just a nice searcher. You reveal the top 3 cards. You can add 1 card with Greymon in its name and 1 card with Omnimon in its name. So, you know, it's just a really solid card. It's a good searcher. You definitely want to have him in your deck. Then we have Starter Deck Greymon, who just gives you security attack +1. Another great card. Good staple. Most players run 1 or 2 in their deck. Because at the end of the day, he is just a vanilla. But security attack +1, you can't pass up on that. So here's another Greymon. He says, when Digivolving, if this Digimon has Agumon in its Digivolution cards, gain a memory. So essentially it just costs 1 to Digivolve, because you're probably just going to be running Agumons in your deck. Then his inheritance says, while this Digimon has Omnimon or Greymon in its name, it gets plus 2,000 DP. So really good at just buffing your stack, making your WarGreymons just big boys. Then we have some Metal Greymons. Here's from BT8. He's a black and a red card. So you can splash in some black into your deck too. Or you can just run the Black WarGreymon. So he says, when Digivolving, Digivolve 1 of your opponent's Digimon, then delete 1 of your opponent's Digimon with 3,000 DP or less. Nice for just tearing down stacks and deleting little rookies. And then his inheritance says, your turn. While the Digimon has Dragon Killer Machine in its traits, it can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. So all the WarGreymons are Dragonkin. So you're always going to be able to do that. Being able to swing into your unsuspended Digimon is pretty cool. Although not necessary. The de-digivolving is the best part about this card, I would say. So now here's some babies that you will want to run. So here's Koromon from BT9. It says your turn. While this Digimon has Agumon or Greymon in its name, it gets plus 1000 DP. So he buffs your rookies. This is a good card. I'd say he's a good one-up because the next baby is from BT5. And he says, when attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has Omnimon or Greymon in its name, draw 1. So he's your draw power. You're going to want to run 4 of this guy in your deck. So, you know, he's pretty solid. You're going to be drawing every time you attack, and that's what you want. You want to keep getting that draw power. And he's got some cute artwork. All right, so now, more geared towards the black colors of the Greymon cards. So here is an Agumon. He does Digivolve from black or a red, so that is handy. He says, on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Greymon in its name, and 1 card with Dragonkin in its traits among them to your hand. And you place the remaining at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this card's really nice. It's a really good searcher, especially if you're running like a more black focused WarGreymon. Then yeah, totally run 4 of him. If you're going into like, say you're doing black WarGreymon, like this guy, then you don't necessarily want to run too many of him, maybe 1 or 2. Because as he is a solid rookie for searching and all that, but the majority of your other rookies do have inheritables that you want in your stack. So he's a good card, really good searcher, and you should definitely consider throwing at least one of these cards in your deck. Some more black cards is Greymon. He digivolves from a black and a red card. He says, while you have a red Digimon in play, this Digimon gains blocker. So say you digivolve into Metal Greymon onto him, then you go into your red WarGreymon. Now your red WarGreymon is blocker. That's pretty good. As you can see, WarGreymon has really started to embrace the red and black dual color. Solid card, I'd say, especially if you want to do black focus, run this card. Then we also have this Greymon. This is from BT2, and it says, your turn. While this Digimon has reboot, it gains jamming. So really, I'm just throwing it in here because he has built-in reboot, so then he would get jamming out of this. And then, here's another one. Here's Metal Greymon from BT2 as well. He has reboot, but it also says, while the Digimon has reboot, it gains security attack +1. So again, it's just really focusing on him. Because with this stack, now you have jamming, security attack +1, reboot, and blocker. So it's this fun little gimmicky stack. Back in the day, this is what I tried to do, and I didn't really get too much. I didn't get the greatest success out of it. But, I mean, it's not terrible. It's fun, definitely for casual play. So here's that Rise Greymon I mentioned earlier. It says, your turn. This Digimon is also treated as yellow. And then he has a Digiburst for 2, and it says you may play a red or yellow tamer card with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. So free ties. He also has an inheritance that says, when attacking, if you have a tamer in play, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn. So it's a solid card. It's really good. Get your tamers out really fast. And this also lets you go into yellow WarGreymon if you're running, say, red base. But he also lets you go into your red WarGreymons if you decide to do some weird yellow base. This card adds lots of versatility to WarGreymon, and I think he's really cool. Definitely get this card if you can. So here's a few X antibody support stuff. So we have Agumon X antibody, and he can digivolve onto any Agumon for free. So he says, on play and when digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and add 1 X antibody among them to your hand. Then you just place the rest at the bottom of your deck. So again, just another nice searcher. If you're running X antibody, this is the Agumon you want to run. And honestly, he's pretty decent in just Tribal Greymon too. You just digivolve onto an Agumon and then search for 0 memory. It's a 0 memory searcher for the most part. That's really good. Next, we have X antibody for Greymon. So he can digivolve onto any Greymon for 0. So any, doesn't matter about the color. Same with the Agumon X antibody. So he has an inheritable that says, all turns, while this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and an effect would delete it or return it to your hand or deck, you may trash 2 cards with the same level in this Digimon's Digivolution cards to prevent it from being removed from play. So this is really good protection. It's mostly useful in an X antibody, because that's when you're gonna have stacks with multiple Digimon with the same levels, because you're gonna be digivolving your Agumon onto Agumons and your Greymons onto Greymons, and then your middle Greymons on the middle Greymons. So it's still solid in Greymon Tribal, but it's mostly for the X decks, the X Antibody decks. So here's also Metal Greymon X Antibody. So you can Digivolve onto any Metal Greymon for 0. And he says, when Digivolving, the Digimon gains Security Attack +1 until the end of your opponent's turn. Then, if the Digimon has Metal Greymon or X Antibody in its Digivolution cards, this Digimon gets +3000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn. So this card's fantastic. You Digivolve onto your Greymon for free, get Security Attack +1 and potentially +3000 DP. And then you can go into your WarGreymons and they still get those bonuses. So you could definitely run this into any Greymon Tribal. I think it's definitely worth splashing it in if you have just extra room for your level 5s. 1 of is really all you need. If you're running X Antibody, 3 to 4 is basically what you want to run. So then also here we have a Delicate Plan, which is basically just BT1 WarGreymon's effect. It says, main, when your Digimon gains, this Digimon doesn't activate the security effects of any option cards it checks in for the turn. So you're basically giving BT1 WarGreymon's ability to any of your other WarGreymons. And this is a solid card to run in your red decks. If you're a red player, you should have a playset of this card just to have. And you probably want to run anywhere between 1 and maybe 2 in your deck. So that's WarGreymon. I think he's pretty good. He lives up to his name. He is a powerful Digimon who's been able to just eradicate sources and do some weird and nifty stuff. And in BT10, there's some really cool blue stuff for like Metal Greymon and Greymon, the blue flare archetype, which we haven't got any like WarGreymons for yet, but getting a blue WarGreymon would be pretty cool. So what do you guys think of WarGreymon? Do you think he lives up to the hype of being one of the most popular Digimon? Do you think his name lives up to the expectations players would expect for a WarGreymon in the card game? I think so. I think he's really cool, and I think that every fan should at least have one of every WarGreymon. If you're a WarGreymon fan, buy these cards. They're still super cheap. The most expensive stuff you're looking at is probably BT1, and then of course alternate arts are going to be expensive, but that's how it is in card games. So how good is WarGreymon? He's pretty freaking awesome. As always, we do a bonus pack. So, just want some alties. And we got Digital Hazard here, and like I said, I just want alties. So let's see what we got. We got Striker Dramon. Nice. Mephistomon. Every Marvel's favorite character. Man, all the Marvel tubers just... At one point, all they could do was talk about Mephisto. We got Grand Locomon. He's a cool guy, I guess. Gargomon. I love Gargomon. We got Bubbles. Nice. Oh, we got Gatekeeper. Gatekeeping the players from having actual fun. We got Digivolution plugin S. It's alright, whatever. Ice Devimon. Very cool. Got Gummymon. Cute, cute, cute. I like Gummymon. He's a cute guy. He's swinging on the... Playing in the swings. That's cute. So we got a Jerry. Jerry. We got Rio. Solid card. And, oh, we got Reaper. Nice. Another card that likes to gatekeep people from having fun. So, thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you enjoy my content, hit the sub so you can keep up with all my uploads. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.